Hi, I'm Lori Tagoone. I'm from Rankin Inlet, Nunavut, and I was in the Ukraine BC program. In my program, we went to Ukraine first, and while we were there, I was working at a kindergarten, and I was just a classroom assistant, but it was really hard because I didn't speak Ukrainian, and the kids in the class didn't speak English, so I relied a lot on my counterpart there, or my work counterpart. And when we were in BC, I worked at the Women's Resource Centre. Part of my job was just sorting through donated clothes and deciding what's going to go in the free store, what goes into the little boutique that they had there. But I also worked with children who witnessed abuse. And that was really difficult for me because it was the first time that I was hearing stories from kids who didn't choose to be in that position but were. And we spent a few days a week with them, like having movie nights, and we'd try to have discussions around healthy relationships or what should belong in a children's world and what belongs in an adult's world, because they live in a world where those things are not always separated, where they see a lot of things that children their age shouldn't see. First, I want to talk about my counterpart because I think that was the most important relationship I had in the program. I think we were the best counterpart in my group. And we instantly connected really well. I was also close to a few members of the members on my team, and those are relationships that I didn't really think I would have, because coming from an Inuit community where all your friends are Inuit and you don't have many friends from outside that circle, I never thought I would have anything in common with them. Before I started the program, I was freaking out thinking, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna be with Qablanoks for 6 months and Qablanoks are just non-Inuit. But I had never had that experience before of having to be with non-Inuit. It sounds really silly now, when I look back and how I think that it was impossible for me to be or connect with people from the South. My host family in Canada was really Tunganak, and Tunganak means to be very welcoming. And I really, really appreciated them. They were very, they really wanted to make sure I had a good experience in mission in BC, and they wanted to show off their community to us. And it also helped that my host father was a hunter, because then we could talk about those kind of things together. And my host mother still refers to me as one of her daughters, which is really nice. When I first heard about Canada World Youth, it was in high school, and it seemed like something that was so distant or so far or so big that I couldn't do. And so all I did was hear about it and wonder what it was, but I didn't really dive into it. But it wasn't until I was in my first year of college and I talked to one of my classmates who had done the program before, and it made me really see that this was possible and that I know someone else that's done the program, so I think I could do the program too. And she was someone that I really looked up to, and I was really young and I wanted to be just like her, and so that's why I guess I applied. And I also wanted to see a different part of the world or meet different people, and part of it too was just not knowing what to do next. Prior to starting the program, I was really worried about how the group would perceive me because I'm Inuk. But they were actually really accepting of where I come from and the little differences that I come with too. And I guess I carry my culture everywhere with me, and so it was easy for me to share that with them. And I can't imagine where I would be today if I hadn't, because I feel like CWI keeps coming back into my life or keeps opening doors for me. Going back to my volunteer experience, it made me feel like I could live anywhere in Canada. Before, living in Ottawa was a big deal, but now Ottawa so easy. And I feel like I've lived in Montreal now too. During my program, I really realized how important maintaining good relationships are, because your program is so revolved around relationships. And also it reminded me to look back at myself and question why I might be feeling or thinking a certain way. Like if I were, sometimes it's easy to look at something and judge it, but I started to question, why am I judging it? Like, what experiences do I have that are making me feel that way? So I feel like I'm more reflective now, or more critical about why I'm feeling a certain way. I highly recommend this program for everyone from my community, because I think it's really good for us to get out every once in a while and see the way other people live. There were a lot of really difficult situations that I did have to work out of when I was in the program. And as much as that sucks, that's part of life. And that's a real life skill. And sometimes people don't know how to cope with those kinds of things. So I feel like if more people from my community were to take the program, then they'd gain the coping skills that they need to get through life. And like, we come from difficult circumstances, and that there's a lot of tough things that we have to work out of. The program is only 6 months long, but so many life experiences are compacted into this tiny 6 months, and sometimes it takes people a lifetime to learn those skills. But I guess what I gained from my experience are things that I continue to use every day and will continue to use for the rest of my life.